Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Welcome to another exciting episode, right? Another exciting episode. So we are so much grateful of your contributions to the channel, your questions that you are asking, as well as the advices that you are giving unto us. We also appreciate your subscriptions to the channel and sharing of this content. Thank you so much. We are told that there are people who are already using this information, these videos that we are posting to prepare for the interviews, to do everything they need to do based on the help they are getting from the channel. Thank you so much for that. But for those who have not yet subscribed, kindly do so. Click the notification button, because we are uploading a video every week so that you can get notified. Right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. For those that are new, I'm Tamba Nobatana, right? I'm the host in this channel, Communication Center for Empowerment. So we are actually communicating to empower people here on different aspects, right? We've done with chapter 1 of the whole program, which is called Job Seeking and Application Process. So if you have not yet listened to that or watched, go to the channel and watch. So we're dealing with very exciting topics there, like for instance, understanding recruitment and selection process in South Africa. We dealt with 6 important things in the advert, when you're analyzing advert. 3, we dealt with preparation for the interviews, virtual, physical, as well as question and answers that are asked in the interview. Then we also dealt with, of course, the other things that relating to the interviews. So we did so much on that chapter. So now we are actually moving to chapter 2 now, because chapter 1 is actually starting from the looking of the job and getting a call of employment. Covers all the way up to the call of the employment. Then chapter 2, we are starting what is called now work preparation program, right? Because now you got this call for an interview from which is the outcomes of the interviews. Now you are called to, you are sent documents to sign, to accept the offers and all that. So you don't know where to start. Now we are actually now doing this preparation as to what do you do, what do you need to do. We are looking at issues like salary negotiations, how to negotiate for salary in those employments that you get to be asked to negotiate. So we are also looking at the contract, very important issues around the issues of contract, right? And then we are looking at the 10 things that you need to do in your first 30 days. You'll know that when you join this organization, especially if you are very, very new, you don't know what to do, where to start and all that. So we are kind of assisting people on that regard, okay? So yeah, today let's look at the salary negotiations. You will know that not every employment you got to negotiate your salary. Like for instance, in government, when you apply for government post, the salary is already there. So the salary is actually already there per annum. So you don't negotiate a thing. You take what is on the paper, because you applied knowing very well that I'm applying for this amount per annum. Okay. So what normally happens then is the structuring, maybe to middle or senior managers, where you now structure your salary to say, okay, fine, I want to structure it this way and this way. It's not necessarily a negotiation. It's just a structuring of a salary, not the negotiations. But now, sorry, in private sector as well as in NGO space, you will find that some of the employments adverts do not have the salary on it. So you're applying there not knowing what is it that exactly that they offer. Then sometimes they ask you on the interviews, or else they ask you, they offer something when we have to sign. That's when now you have to kind of engage and negotiate for a better offer if you feel like what they've offered you is actually not enough for you. So of course, when you approach those type of discussions, there are things that you need to have in place, which will be used as a standpoint, things that you're gonna use to base your argument on. These are the things that we're going to deal with. You know, at this information, I remember one time I was I was in the interview. So it was my first interview from government when I was working for government. Then I was going out of government now, joining NGO space. Now I was asked in the interview as to how much are you expecting us to pay you? Yo, I got shocked. I got lost. I didn't know how to respond. I didn't know how to respond. I just named the figure out from the top of the head. Then they agreed. They went to say, no, we're going to come back to you. They went. When they came, they agreed. They gave me that amount. And my boss later said, you know what? You actually killed yourself by raising that amount, because there was a lot of money that was budgeted for that particular post payment. So when you said this amount, we gave you exactly what you wanted, and we had to return the money. I did not blame myself, because I wasn't aware of those things, and I'm sure that quite a number of people even today still do not know those dynamics. Right? Number one, what you need to look at when you negotiate, when you're preparing to negotiate for your salary. Number one is what I called post payment system. They are post payment system or structure. People in government, you will find that there are posts that are part of the organogram. They are paid by salary unit of the department. They are funded by the department, right? Those are permanent posts, mostly are funded by the department. But still in the department, there is a different type of posts which are in the department, but they are funded by the partners. Yeah, so you'll find out you are working for this department, but your salary does not come from them, although you're getting paid by them on the 15th or month end, but it's actually not coming from them. It's coming from a certain organization. You are actually a secondment, right, from that organization to this department, let alone that the post maybe in some cases was advertised by the department. In some cases, it was advertised by the concerned organization, but saying that it will be a secondment to the department, right? So there are those dynamics. You need to understand as to where is your finance fund for the funding for this post coming from, so that at least you are clear on the grounds on which you will stand in kind of discussing those. Okay, that's one. Number two, let's go to NGOs or private sector. There is what is called organizational based salary. This one, you are getting paid by this organization or by this company, right, from the salary budget of the organization, regardless of the projects or programs that they are doing. So, right, which means the projects comes and go, the programs comes and go, but your payment is actually from their budget, from their salary budget line. Okay, it's not tied on the certain project. Okay, so it's actually organizational. I remember one time in the organization that we worked for, there were 4 units. One unit was actually us, health, in that organization. So the unit head, her salary was paid by the organization, right? But the staff salary under her was not paid by the organization, but was paid by the project. So which is the one I'm gonna come to it now, right? So you need to understand those things, right? Number 3 is the project-based kind of payments, all right, kind of funding, post-funding. In this case, you are employed by this organization, right? But your salary is directly from the project that you are employed to do, okay? There is this organization, Thamba Nobatana organization, right? They write a proposal requesting funding. In the proposal, there is a part of the structure, right, as to human resource. This is what will require a project manager, a project coordinator, project admin, but specifically for this program, for this project. So the payments of these people, 3 people I've just mentioned, is actually coming direct from the project, not from the organization, which means, in other words, their employment is project-based. They are employed based on the duration of the project. If the project is 2 years, their contract will be 2 years. If it's one year, their project will be 1 year. So It happens. It happens. I also worked for that type of the employment, even though it's not a nice thing, because when the project comes to an end, even if the organization is still running, you are going to be released because your employment was purely based on the project. Okay, well? So those are the issues under post-payment system of funding, as to where is the funding of this role that you are about to assume coming from. That will help you a lot. Okay, that will help you a lot. So these questions you can ask from the interviews. Yeah, well, when they ask you in the interview that do you have any question, these are the type of questions that you need to raise from the onset, so that at least when you get out of that room, you know what's happening, because after that you stand a chance of not getting this information. Yeah? So ask these questions on the interview, right? The post-payment system, as to how is it for this particular post. Then that's number one, right? Number two is called post-salary range, right? Market related. As they are advertising this post, okay, in this organization, make a bit of research as to how much are other organizations paying for this particular post. If it's in government, for instance, it's a bit simple, because you TPSA do advertise these things and you get to see the amount. So it's not a problem. And at the same time, you don't negotiate, because it's on the paper before you apply. But in NGOs and in private, it's a different story altogether. So you have to try now and get information as to this post in this industry. If it's an NGO space, in the NGO, right? How much average are they paying the other organizations for this particular post? But you must also be mindful of the fact that it might not be the same case from one organization to another, because you will find that some of the organizations will actually determine their salary based on the project, right? Money that they've requested. Let's say, for instance, organization one requested for same proposal, but wrote to pay 10 rand for their employment workers. Then the other organization B said to pay 15 rand. When they get the grant, they are going to pay based on what is on the proposal. So it does not matter if organization B is paying 15 rand while we are paying 10 rand in other organization, because their proposal was talking to 15 rand. So you need to also understand those dynamics. But it's good to research and make an informed decision, right? Also, where you can get this information, because it's very difficult sometimes to get this information. So there is a YouTuber channel on YouTube of a lady called Life Reset with Bonnie. Life Reset with Bonnie. This lady is dealing with pay slips. They are different post pay slips, the doctors, the engineers, and all that. So she is dealing with different pay slips, actual pay slips. So you can get this information on that. Sorry, on that podcast, on those podcasts, to check as to, okay, if you are getting employed as an engineer, right? What are the engineers getting? Go to that, check this lady on YouTube and get this information. Okay. Then number 3, you also check at the value that you are bringing to this organization or to this position. Okay. What type of a value and how much is that value that you are bringing in this organization? How do you do that? One, you look at your qualifications, okay? If they wanted, like, for instance, a degree in something, you've got your honors, you've got your masters, right? Which means you are actually bringing more value than they requested. Yeah, so those are the grounds that you can use to negotiate. Also, the experience. They said maybe we need a 5 years experience. When your 5 years experience was in 3 organizations, so which means you are not a single way kind of experience to that 5 years in one post. You are 3 in 1. You've got 3 experiences, which makes this 5 years, which means you've got different taste, you've got different you worked in different environments than a person who is actually worked one way from one organization these 5 years. So that's another thing that you can look at. And also other short courses, maybe other projects that we've done which are very much related to this role. So it's one of the things as well that you can use under value add as to what kind of value am I bringing to this organization, right? Then also, number 4, you look at on the significant, what is this? On the significance of the role, right? I'm not sure if it's the right English, but you hear what I'm saying. How significant this post is in this. How significant this post is in this organization. Let me make an example. I was once employed by an organization which was dealing medical male circumcision, right? Which means they had to circumcise a certain number of guys in a month, in a quarter and all that. And they have committed in the proposal that we're going to do this number on quarterly basis, then you divide that by month to get your monthly target. So now, unfortunately, they were not making the numbers. Not making the numbers. The clinical staff was there, right? But there were no initiates, right? There were no leads to circumcise. Then they had to employ a demand creation person, right? Which was me. So that role was very much significant in the organization because it was me who made sure that there are leads to circumcise to actually reach the targets. Even if the clinical staff is there, without guys to be circumcised, they will do nothing, absolutely nothing. And for the organization to reach the targets, okay, they had to circumcise. For them to circumcise, there must be guys. For the guys to be available, a demand has to be created. Different strategies has to be employed, right? So my post was very key. Although I was not a clinician, but I was a very key person in the organization because the targets were depending on me as to are we winning or not. So those are the things that you need to. And if your post is critical as this one, as the one I've mentioned, you've got very good grounds to negotiate because you are kind of an engine. You are a general secretary. So everything revolves around you. So yeah, so those are the things that you actually look at in terms of negotiating for the salary. Then we look at point number 5. Look at the different dynamics. I said point number 5 is dynamics. Let's look at the different dynamics. Like for instance, the dynamics we're talking about here. One is that as you are getting employed, are you from internal or external? Yeah, so are you getting employed in this organization from internal? It's just that you are moving maybe to another department within, or you are actually getting a promotion and all that. So that also says a lot. So that gives you a platform to negotiate, right? Than a person who is newly coming from fresh from outside. So from inside you have got kind of a more advantage, on the negotiations than a person who's coming from outside. So you need to understand those dynamics. Also, is this organization, is this employment in the NGO sector or in the private? Because the scales are not the same, right? So if you are negotiating for a post that is in the corporate, you are coming from the NGO space, you are coming from the different space, you have to now up your game to negotiate for the space where you are going to. Vice versa. If you are coming this side, you are from corporate, you coming to this side, you might find yourself in other cases being a bit disadvantageous because the NGOs, you'll find that are not paying as far as some NGOs are not paying as far as corporate is concerned. At the same time, that you'll find that some corporate are not paying as far as NGO is concerned. So these things are not the same. It's not a one size fit all. You have to check those balances as to, okay, where I'm coming from, this is the levels here. How are the things to happen? Then how are things done? Then you get those things right. then you build your case for negotiations. Okay. Number 3, you 5.3. When I'm saying number 3, it's actually 5.3. It's the type of the salary that you are going to be getting. Is it a cost to company, total cost to company, or a basic salary? Those things, you need to ask those things. You need to have a knowledge as to am I getting employed on a total cost to company, or there is a basic salary, is a basic salary. Then there will be benefits and all that. So you need to know those type of necessities. You need to really look at those things, right, to prepare your case. And number 6, which is kind of the last point that you need to know when you are discussing this, is the issue of deductions, right? Issue of deductions as to, right? I hear you, because colleagues, you will find that when you are told money on paper and all that, it looks good because they're telling you per annum, right? But when the deductions comes, it becomes a bit of a problem, because you'll find that in some other organizations, there are benefits that are compulsory, like for example, your medical aid and all that, and all this is going to be deducted from this money. And you find that there is less that you are taking home, right? But others is allocated in all those different pockets. So these are the things that you need to check. UIF, an insurance, unemployment fund. So insurance is kind of insurance. This one, UIF, is kind of standard, right? Medical aids, you need to check those things. But is it medical aids on me, or is gonna be deducted from the salary? Tax, tax pay as you earn is compulsory, standard, like UIF, standard. Okay. Then the way you can do this, you can actually request the HR, to actually draft a dummy payslip for you. Okay, instead of saying no, you're gonna get this much, kind of request a dummy payslip for you. Then when you get that dummy payslip, it's actually gonna tell you as to, actually this is the gross and this will be your net. Okay, so these are the deductions that will be in your salary, so that at least at the end of the day, you at the end of the month, you are not surprised by what is coming into your bank. You sign knowing exactly what happened. I remember when I was joining one of the organizations, I just asked, in fact, I did not ask. They put an offer to me. Then they kind of dissected the way I'm dissecting it now, as to this portion goes there, this portion goes there, this portion goes there. Then this is how much you are going to be having in your pocket. So they made it very easy for me, because it was in the offer. Then I actually took it because at least it was moving me. At least it landed from the range where I expected. In fact, it landed more than a range that I expected. So I just signed and said, thank you. Then I sent. So there was no need for negotiations. But it's not always the case. Not always the case. So those are the things, people, that we need to look at. Lastly, in closing, right, you need to understand when you're working for these organizations, especially when your salary is project-based. I need to stress this thing, that it happens sometimes that you are at a 20,000 rate take home. When the new project comes, when they receive it, it has got less money than the project you were in. You find yourself going down to the 16th. It happened to me. I accepted because I didn't have a job. So those are the things that do happen. But if you know these dynamics, right, it's easy to understand about, oh, this is what is happening now. This is what is happening now. Then you are able to settle and sign those documents. Then you get paid what is due to you, right? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let us recap. We're doing salary negotiations now. The issues that you need to consider when you are about to stage your case in as far as salary negotiations is concerned. Okay? And we indicated, this is the part 1 of chapter 2, which is work preparation program. Work preparation program. This is actually part 1 of Chapter 2 Work Preparation Program. So we dealt with salary negotiations. Then we said, number one, you actually need to understand what is called post-payment system as to how are they paying this post. How are they paying? Are they paying it from the organization or from the project? Those are the things. Then number two, we said you need to understand post-salary range, market-related value of this salary. Then we indicated a number of things even there that you need to consider. Then number three, we talk about value add as to what value are you bringing to this program, right? Number four, the significance of this role in this organization. Number five, dynamics. Number four, then deductions, right? So number six is actually deductions as to what is it that is going to be deducted, what are you going to be left with. So those are the issues that we dealt with in this episode. Thank you, and thank you so much. And please do not forget to subscribe, to share, to like, to press the notification button, as well as make comments on the comments. You can even suggest, right, the topics the other topics that you feel like we can do in this platform, even if they are outside of what we're talking about. Send those to us. We will actually going to consider that and see how do we take those down. Thank you so much, and thank you.